So we have Actor 1, the writer who believes she has been kidnapped by an alien during young ages in a horror book. Okay. Hi everyone, it's Kay, and this video is going to be about writing prompts. Surprisingly, I don't really use writing prompts a lot. I get a lot of ideas and inspiration from my dreams or from other places. I do typically use them in my classroom when I'm doing writing with my students. I teach the 3rd grade, and sometimes a prompt will get them kind of excited about what we're going to be writing about. So they exist and I know of them, but I don't typically go to them for myself. I still thought it would be really fun to kind of check some out. I was gonna rate them originally, like 1 to 5 stars, but I think that's subjective, and I'd rather let you guys make that decision for yourselves. I chose 3 to look at today. I probably will do another video with more just because I did really enjoy myself with this. They were all free apps and they were all available. I use, Android, so they were all like in the Google Play Store, but I assume that Apple probably has them as well. The last thing I want to mention before I get to the footage is I recorded the screen on my tablet, so I feel like the audio is not fantastic and it's not as clear as it is when I use my phone to record. So just keep that in mind when you're listening. All right, so without further ado, here's the footage. The first app I want to show you today is called Writer's Kit. I downloaded this one a while ago. I think I was just looking for apps that were supposed to make a writer's life easier, and I didn't realize that this was a writing prompt app until I saw the categories: romance, mystery, fantasy, and horror. This one is pretty bare bones. If you look in the settings, it has it in Korean and in English. And I'm actually kind of glad that I showed you this first because it'll make a lot more sense when I make a prompt randomize here. There's also a music button that I'm going to press because I'm telling you that enhances the experience a lot. So here we go. So I'll show you what it looks like in Korean before I go to English. So let's just pick romance, for example. The first time I heard the music, I laughed a lot. But if you click new, see, it comes across like that. So why don't we switch it to English and we'll try again. So here we go. For a romance, I'm going to turn the volume down just slightly so that you can hear my voice better. So it says, it has our 2 people, our actors, and it says, Actor 1 is a college student who has a secret crush on a senior from his or her major department. Actor 2 is a business person who is an orphan but builds up fortune out of nothing. Woman who believes Actor 1 is as the arranged betrothed by her parents and follows the Actor 1. In a situation, carriers being switched in an airport. So I think others means like secondary characters. So this one, it's pretty, I think it's simple and it gets the job done. I think the issue with this one is that obviously English is not a first language here. So sometimes I think that things are lost in translation. But let me show you a couple from the other ones too, because sometimes I just have a laugh at the translating. So yeah, that's the romance one. Let's go home. Now we have mystery. Here, I'll turn the music back up again so you can hear and experience. I love it. So anyway, let's click new and see what comes up. So we have our detective, our criminal, our case, and a trick, which I assume is a plot twist or something like that. So the detective is a famous detective, noble writer with many bestseller books. I wonder if he's like Castle. Did you guys ever watch that show? My father-in-law loved Castle. Criminal, mother who murdered her violent husband to protect her child. And then the case is a young girl is missing on the way home from school. And the trick, or I guess we'll say the plot twist, is disguise the alibi by playing a double role. Well, I kind of liked everything up until the trick, but this one is actually kind of cool. I would potentially I'm not really a mystery writer, but it sounds like a fun one to do maybe if I ever wanted to do like an exercise. Let's go back. All right, now for fantasy. Now this one might be up my alley since I'm currently working on a fantasy. So let's click on that. I'm digging the music. I need more fantasy in my life. All right, let's click new and see what happens. All right, we have our hero, our anti-hero, our quest, and our artifact. So the hero is a great magician who returned to youth again by a strong magic. The anti-hero is a woman who tries to use black magic in order to revive her dead family members. I feel like this one actually works. There are some times where I click these that I'm like, what? But this one is actually pretty good. The quest is all the village people fall asleep and do not awake. And then finally, the artifact, the special item they have, is ring enabled for recovery magic once a day. Again, this is not the worst one they've put together. I almost want to click again just to see if we can get anything else random. Let's try again. Okay, here we go. So this time, the hero is a young man who travels to look for a prospective bride. Kind of sounds like Jaunty. Our anti-hero is Prince in the Devildom, who dreams to avenge himself on the soldier who killed his father, Devil. See what I mean? Like, I feel like something is lost in translation there. I think it's like he is the devil, but like another devil killed his dad. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. Quest: the sky darkens and the nights continue. That's pretty cool. That alone could be a writing prompt. And then finally, sapphire that changes colors near bad spirits. So I don't know. That one was a little bit more weirder, but I feel like it still could work. Here, let's do the last one. Horror. Here we go. All right, so we have our two actors again. I think they have stage, and that means setting, and then the situation. The music is really creepy in this one, so I'm gonna go kind of quick. All right, so we have actor one, the writer who believes she has been kidnapped by an alien during young ages in a horror book. Okay. Actor two, the general who was spending a calm life in the small village after the discharge. So like once he got out of the army is what I assume that means. And then an antique shop selling goods with history. And then the situation is that they start to hear the thinkings of other people. Music is so creepy. I feel like this one's a little bit confusing, especially with the whole alien thing, but this is just an example. And again, if you click refresh, it'll give you a different one. So that is Writer's Kit. And it's free, so if what you just saw interests you, you should check it out. Okay, the next app we're going to look at is called Ficton Prompter. This one is simple, but I feel like in a different way. There, you open up the app, and it has a prompt, and it looks like you can either favorite it, or you can refresh and get a new one. But let me read this one first. It says, we were reduced down to primitive versions of who we once were. No phones, no technology, no TV. No way to communicate with other people, if there were any left. We fashioned a simple hut from pieces of wood and rocks and clumps of sand. It had a pointy roof and would shake and tremble on windy nights, but it was better than sleeping outside. We learned how to hunt for food and how to fish, new skills we'd acquired since the explosion. We were living off snakes and rodents for the most part. They weren't nice to eat by any means. In fact, the meat was rather disgusting, but we couldn't afford to be picky. One night, I heard an erratic buzzing noise coming from outside of the hut. I tried to rouse my husband, Thomas, but he was still in a deep sleep. I crawled from the hut on all fours and followed the sound. It was a radio sitting in the bush, half buried in the sand. The antenna was up, and I could hear the muffled voices amidst the buzzing and crackling of interference. Bzzzt, bzzzt, bzzzt. Is anybody bzzzt out there? Bzzzt. Well, I have to say this is definitely a lot more detailed than Writer's Kit. Almost the other way. Like, I almost wish that whoever wrote this would just continue the story themselves, but this is pretty cool. So it looks like if I wanted to, I could press the heart and favorite it. And then down below, it says favorites, and then at the top it said prompt, add it to your favorites. And then it looks like at the bottom, I could click and maybe it will just show me what I have. Maybe I got to have more than one. Let me refresh first. All right, here's another one. So it says, "You forgot this, didn't you?" Rebecca approached the edge of the pond and stopped in front of the man who'd spoken. He was sitting cross-legged in the scorched grass, flicking pebbles into the stagnant water. "No," she said, sitting beside him. He laughed and hugged the ragged toy. Bits of cotton wool bled from it, and one of its eyes were missing. "I think you did," he said, tossing it at her. She caught it and frowned. "It's ugly, Lance," she said, turning it in her hands. "It's your favorite," he persisted. "Was my favorite." She pushed it back into his arms. "Don't you remember everything you went through with this thing?" he said. "The little fellow was there and we watched everything burn." Oh, I feel like a lot of these are like a post-apocalyptic themed. And I wasn't really paying attention with the last one, but there's like a picture of like a stuffed animal in the background too. So that's kind of neat. Let me favorite this one too. And then we'll read one more and then we'll see if I can get into that little category here. So here's the last one. Ooh, this is a short one. It says, "I reached my hand down and let my fingers trickle in the cool and gray water. After all these years, I could still feel her presence here. She always loved this lake, and I knew she'd never leave." I feel like there's a lot of ways you could take that and go somewhere. You could, like, in the literal sense, like, there's a ghost or a creature. You could be like, your spouse passed away and, you go back to the lake. That was her favorite place. Like, I think this one has a lot of interpretation, and I like that there is like a corresponding background image, which is nice. So what happens now if I click prompts? Maybe this is the prompts. Oh, I see. Okay, so the prompts, when you click that, that's that main screen that we were just reading from. If you go into favorites, you have what you like. That way you can come back to it if you want, and there's an option to delete. So if I press this one, it will go away. I have the choice. You want to remove this prompt? No, go back. Yes, remove. So that's that. I'm going to keep it, I guess. And then there's an About tab. You could leave a rating. It says there are hundreds of unique and colorful prompts that serve as inspiration for your next short story or other work of fiction. Cool. There's somebody that you can email to. I wonder if you can email them and submit your own prompt, which is kind of cool. So yeah, this one was Ficton Prompter. What does it look like if I undo this? Oh, it's just the picture. So you could even like use the picture as like a inspiration. I know some people do that. Very cool. All right, well, that is Ficton Prompter. The last app we're going to look at today is called Writer Challenges. This one seems a little bit similar to Ficton Prompter, where it looks like there is a whole variety of different prompts that you can look at. But it seems like it's set up a little bit differently. I think of the three, this one probably is the most complex. So, for example, it says here, choose a challenge. So let's look at this first one here. It says dark. It says you and your boyfriend, girlfriend are stargazing, pointing out constellations and laughing, but suddenly the stars go black. You no longer can see the sparkling diamonds in the sky, but the darkness doesn't stop there. The street lights, the car headlights, and even the small lights that shone through the houses all just disappeared, and the world went dark. Suddenly the lights all flicker back on, and the sky lights up once more with stars and moonlight. When I don't know, I'm having such trouble reading this one, sorry. It's because it's small text. When your eyes adjust to the inherently bright light, you notice nothing is as it was. So I feel like this is kind of similar to that prompt we had where like it was getting night like longer and longer, but like that's kind of cool. So what happens if I click start writing? Oh, I could actually literally start typing it in here. Which, why would you want to do that? I wonder if there's like, maybe you can submit what you write. I have questions. All right, so you can write in the actual app. That's kind of cool. What if I click explore? Let's see what that does. Oh, this is cool. This is like what people wrote as their response to the prompt. That's really cool. I might just go on this when I'm like trying to get my son to take a nap or something and I'll have stuff to read. Like it says here, I don't want to slaughter his name, but he says, we refer to that day as the day that the sky went truly black. Nothing was different from usual that night. The sky was sparkling with stars.
like sparkling white gems on a black cloth. The insects were providing the background music referred to that day as the day the sky went truly black. Nothing was different from the usual. I don't know, so it's repetitive, but it does sound like people are answering that writing prompt. And I wonder if people like and comment, like, are there competitions? Again, I have questions about this app. I just picked, well, I already had Writer's Kit, but I just picked 2 other writing apps for this video, and I'm very intrigued. Let's look at this little person here in the corner. What does that say? So this is just my settings. Okay. I do see at the bottom there's a plus sign here, like if I wanted to create my own prompt. Yeah, title and description. Yeah, that's cool. So this sounds like people submit prompts for challenges and then people write their answers to them. So before we wrap this up, why don't we look at a couple more? I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and then we'll go from there. Like this one says, legendary. You are a legendary warrior with a several decades long reputation of tirelessly prevailing over hordes of monstrosities. In a sudden moment of clarity, you come to your senses in a psychiatric ward. A miraculous medication has been tested on you to counter your schizophrenia. As time passes, you begin to recognize the people and other things from your former psychosis. That is really cool. Oh my gosh. That's like not my wheelhouse, but I feel like that would be a really cool book to read. So same thing, if we go into explore, what if we click on Peter Rosa's and see what his says? So he wrote like a short story. That's really cool. What about this? I'm trying to see if it's like, fan fiction where people are writing a lot. No, it seems like it's mostly short stories, but that's fantastic. Let's do one more and then we will wrap up the video. So let's go back to the apps. I'm going to scroll again. Sorry if that makes you want to throw up. Let's see. How about... Ooh, I saw the word psychic ability, so here we go. Because that's like Remember Me. I'm afraid. You have supernatural abilities. From a family of 6, you all have super psychic abilities. The world wasn't ready for you, so you all migrated to an extremely rural area and lived in poverty. This all happened before you were able to remember anything, so you don't even know about your powers until this particular day. So I feel like this one is kind of more general, where you could kind of take that and run with it yourself. No, that's really cool. So I'm glad I downloaded this one because, like I said, if nothing else, it's like a quick little bit of fiction you can read if you like short stories. All right, and that one was called Writer Challenges.
Okay, that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will put the name of the 3 apps in the description: Writer's Kit, Ficton Prompter, and Writer Challenges. If you have any apps that you use for writing prompts or other things that you use when you have writer's block, I would love to hear them. And I will see you soon. Bye.